Hey everyone! Today on the Evolution Show, I'm going to talk to you about an item that is elemental to our collection, copper. So today I'm going to talk to you about copper. Copper is a really common element that we encounter in our everyday lives. It's been with us as part of human history for 11,000 years, and it is still with us today. Copper is part of the periodic table of elements. The scientific notation for it is Cu, so you'll see it next time you check out your periodic table of elements, which I'm sure you do periodically. Always want to make sure that nothing has changed and been updated. And so copper is one of those elements, and it is a heavy metal. So I wanted to talk to you about that today. There's a lot of really interesting scientific properties about copper, and that's why it's been used by humans for so long and why it continues to be useful today. Some of you may know already that copper is a really good conductor, right? It's a good conductor for electricity, it's a good conductor for heat. Sometimes you'll see copper pots and pans just because it spreads the heat so evenly when cooking, so it has a lot of uses for that. You'll see it in electrical wiring, you'll see it in microchips and computer parts and stuff like that. A lot of people use copper for those types of applications. Another interesting thing about copper, which we encounter all the time, is it's used very often as a building material. And when it is exposed to the air, it oxidizes and it turns this beautiful green color. So obviously here in New York City, we have the Statue of Liberty. She's made out of copper, and she has become completely green over time. And what's interesting about copper oxidation, as opposed to like iron that rusts and then sort of disintegrates and falls apart over time, and you have to always kind of be shoring it up if you want something to remain, copper, when it oxidizes, it actually serves to protect the metal inside, and so it makes it last even longer. So that's a really cool aspect of copper, is that when it turns green, it's actually stronger than it was before. Copper has been in use by humans for thousands and thousands of years. In fact, the earliest proof of copper being used by humans goes back to 11,000 years ago. And we're able to tell that it's been used for this long because of some of the artifacts that we've been able to find. And so this period of time when humans first started using copper is actually called the Copper Age, and it predates the Bronze Age. So you might have heard of the Bronze Age, but I personally hadn't heard of the Copper Age. So this is even earlier than that. And so like I said, it goes back to about 11,000 years ago when this was the first metal that humans actually learned how to work with. This is the first one that they smelted. This is the first one that they used in decorative pieces, that they used in jewelry, that they used in building materials. This was the first time that humans really interacted with metal in this way, and it actually forms the turning point between prehistory and what we call proto-history. So history is, modern history is kind of what we have once we have really good written records, right? But there's a period between prehistory and modern history called proto-history where we start to find artifacts and evidence of technology and stuff like that, but we don't really have, very, excellent written records or anything like that. So we just have to go based off of what we were able to find. And copper has played a really huge role. It has been elemental in our evolution. So now I want to talk to you about these particular pieces of copper and why I think they're so interesting and so cool. So this copper is found all over the world, but this copper in particular was found in Keweenaw in Michigan. So that's where this copper is from. And that is actually one of the places in the United States where copper is most commonly found. And it was something that they were searching for during the gold rush times and stuff. Obviously everybody was looking for gold, that was the big one, but there were lots of other minerals, lots of other natural resources that people were trying to get their hands on and take advantage, mostly because there were so many new industrial uses for metals like copper. And so this particular copper is from Michigan, and the way that they prepare this copper is actually the same way that they prepared it way back when. So the miners back then, there was so much copper around that they were coming up with new and creative ways of using it. And copper has always been used in a decorative fashion. It's just so beautiful. And so what they would do is that they would so they were, innovators, artists, creators, and they wanted to come up with new and beautiful ways of using it. And so what they would do is that they would take a piece of copper and they would melt it down to its melting point until it was molten, which I think takes about 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit of heat. So it's not an easy thing to do. You really have to work at it. And so when you melt down the copper, then what they would do is they would take a wet pile of straw, and then they would pour the copper down onto it, and it would trickle down and it would burn away the straw, and then the water around it would cool down the copper. And so that's how you get these amazing, intricate shapes. And this is something that this is not carved, this is not cast, this is not, really touched by human hands. This is the natural pouring action of the copper through the straw. And then if you're really lucky, sometimes you'll get a little piece of straw stuck in the copper. And so that's your proof that this is how this was made, which I think is just really cool. Thanks for watching our video about copper. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you do enjoy the videos that we've been making, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. It really helps us to get feedback from you guys about what kind of content you want to see. And if you're interested in learning more about this copper or in seeing it in person, please come down to the store. We're in Manhattan at 687 Broadway, and we're online at www.theevolutionstore.com. Thanks for watching. So this is the part where we read some of your comments. This comment is from Sarah Fazard, who commented on Facebook, and she was actually commenting on an episode that we had shot at our upstate location in our fabrication studio, which a lot of people are not familiar with. So she says, I was there in August 2019. I didn't put two and two together. I even took a picture. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't know we're up there. We have a big sign that has our name on it. We have a skeleton hanging out in the front yard, so you would think people would associate it with us, but I guess we're still a little too incognito. So our next comment is from Watkiyama. They say, just placed a small order, so excited to get it. LOL, oops, I placed another order and had an entire virtual class of fourth graders browsing your site. Hey, I don't object to that. I think that's awesome. We love working with educators. We actually hosted a virtual field trip with a high school science teacher earlier this year. That's something that we would love to do more of. So if your kids want to come visit us virtually, let us know. We'd be happy to set it up. And our last comment for today is from Birds of Valhalla. Yay, no mask. It's good to see your face. It's been too long. I agree. We are all so relieved. So exciting.